This is the first in what's going to be a series of recordings I make to try to illustrate what people should be watching for when they watch a Street Fighter video. Most people, when they watch a video, just watch sort of passively or casually. They'll enjoy it, and maybe they'll learn one or two things, maybe a new combo or something, or maybe a new use of a normal. But that's not really what you should be looking for, or not only what you should be looking for. There's a lot more involved, and what you really should be looking at is the decisions that the two players make and why they make them. The most important thing is why they make them. Understanding that can really help your own game. Okay, so the first match is going to be Mepu, who's using Sagat, against Itabashi Zangief, who's using Zangief. And I picked this match not just because I'm a Zangief player and I know this match pretty well, and not because it's the greatest match of all time, but because it gives me a chance to illustrate a few points that I'm going to talk about as the match goes on. Okay, so Mepu starts out with a bunch of tiger shots here. Now that might seem pretty obvious, and it is in a way, but it might not be as obvious as you think. A lot of people, and let's pause it there, when Gief hits that fierce trades with Sagat's roundhouse, a lot of people look at tiger shots as just kind of mindless chucking of fireballs. But that's not what it is at all. It's a series of pretty smart decisions made by Mepu, where he knows that he can throw out these tiger shots both to control space and to deal damage, and he doesn't risk taking damage himself. So it's actually pretty smart. As we'll see later, it's not always easy to throw tiger shots like that. Tiger Knee is pretty safe from there. That standing roundhouse is really good against Lariat from that range. So he jumps back again, tries to reset the situation, goes back to tiger shots, which are again pretty safe, pretty smart from that range. Zangief can't do very much about them from there. That Tiger Knee, short Tiger Knee, really hard to react to. So back to this chip and spacing thing. Yeah, okay, so let's pause it there. Itabashi was pretty much out of options, and so he does this desperation attempt. Does jab green hand. What he was going for was for the jab green hand to nullify Mepu's fireball, and then Gief would get ultra. At that situation, you don't have a lot of options left. Options that otherwise would be really stupid become a little bit less stupid, especially if, like ultra, they deal so much damage. And it's important to point out that the damage dealt from that ultra is not just the 600 damage it does directly, but also the damage that Sagat has to take to get back to the situation he was in before. So Itabashi here does a couple of good things to start the round. He first walks toward, just takes a little step, then he crouches. And what that crouch is about, I think, is he's doing the motion for an EX green hand, ending it down toward. He didn't input any buttons, but if Mepu had done a tiger shot or a tiger knee or something like that, Itabashi could have pressed punch punch and gotten an EX green hand into knockdown into free meaty pressure. So that's real nice. But he sees that Mepu does not do that, does not do any moves, and so he just keeps walking toward, keeps that pressure on. And walking towards is really nice with Zangief. Puts pressure on Sagat and forces Sagat to move back, and you can see that what Mepu does is he backdashes and he throws a little crouching strong to try to fake a fireball, try to bait Itabashi into doing an EX screen hand, but Itabashi does not fall for it. Alright, so after that Tiger Knee knockdown, Itabashi manages to jump right back in with that jumping medium kick, which was not entirely safe, but he gets the knockdown out of it, which is really important, and let's pause it right there. So he tries this meaty low jab, SPD. Doesn't work out. And to be honest, I don't really like the SPD. I think that if you see somebody standing up while you're inputting crouching jabs as Zangief, that means that they're trying to jump away. And what beats a jump? Not command grab, but low short, because you can't both hold back or up back, or even input dragon punch, and at the same time be blocking low. It's really unfortunate for him that he messed that up, because it's going to be pretty hard to win as Zangief, especially against Sagat, if you don't manage to convert your meaty situations. Okay, so immediately after that, Mepu is reset to a situation where his tiger shots are unsafe. He does low strong, then he goes back to tiger shots when he knows it's safe. So he's not doing anything unsafe right now, which is smart. At the same time, not dealing very much damage. Zangief gets a couple of pokes in, continues to push Sagat back. Let's pause it where Itabashi does this jumping up fierce. Headbutt. So why'd he do this headbutt? Well, it's intended to beat Tiger Knee, beats the roundhouses, Sagat's standing roundhouses, and deals retarded stun, 600 stun. At the same time, it leads into an EX hand combo, so it does great stun if it hits, great damage, knockdown, pushes Sagat more towards the corner, Zangief gets a free meaty situation. Basically would have been a great idea. And at the same time, there's not much opportunity cost. His other options from that range, he could have continued his standing strong pressure, he might have tried a low roundhouse, something like that. He might have just kind of walked forward and blocked. He might have tried inputting down toward in case he thought that Mepu was going to do something unsafe. Those are okay options, but not necessarily better than this fierce headbutt, especially because the fierce headbutt makes Sagat think twice about doing a Tiger Knee or a standing roundhouse. I also want to point out what happened leading up to that. So Itabashi successfully pushes Mepu backwards. Mepu continues to back up. He jumps back a few times, backdashes. He just tries his fakes. He's not doing a whole lot of damage. He's giving up lots of positioning. So why is he doing this? Well, it's not because he wants to. It's because Itabashi is forcing him to. Itabashi is standing in a great spot. He keeps that spot as Mepu moves backwards. He doesn't do anything stupid like jump towards or anything like that. He's playing really well. Mepu, his options as Zangief gets closer and as Mepu gets towards the corner become worse and worse. So his options basically narrow down to do something stupid like an EX, or like a Tiger Shot or a Tiger Knee or something like that, that could be potentially unsafe, and almost was, as you saw that fierce head, but almost worked. Or he can just continue to back up, and those aren't great options. But this shows you that in Street Fighter, the real game is about the decisions that are made previously. That is, it's not necessarily the decisions that you're making at the moment that are most important. It's the decisions that led to the decisions that you have to make now. So if Mepu had done a few things differently earlier on, he wouldn't have been in this predicament in the first place. And that really would have been his best option. Now that option obviously taken away from him, and he has to deal with the situation that he's currently in. Now, what made Mepu lose that round? Was it the spinning pile driver that actually killed him? Well, yeah, in a sense. I mean, obviously, most immediately, that's the reason. But he was in a meaty situation that was really bad. He had just lost, 15% of his life, 20% of his life, whatever, from that focus to 360 kick. So, in a way, it's also the focus to 360 kick that killed him. But even more so, it was the random Dragon Punch that led to that focus to 360 kick, but even more so than that, the biggest cause was that he let himself get backed up in the first place. That's why he died, because Itabashi was able to force his strategy on Mepu, and Mepu couldn't do anything about it. As his options got worse and worse, as he kept backing up, he had fewer and fewer options. I think this illustrates pretty well what Street Fighter is really about. It's not just a back and forth, like I do something, you do something, here's my response sort of game. A lot of people play it that way, but you're not going to succeed very well unless you have a larger strategy, unless you understand what the opponent's strategy is, understand how the opponent wants to implement his strategy, how you're going to implement your strategy, and how you're going to deal with the opponent's strategy if his should become the dominant one. Well, that's it for me, so follow the link underneath this video to see the third round for yourself, try to critique it, and see if there's anything to be learned.